Welcome back to the build, everybody. This is the fourth episode of the exhaust system. And in this episode, we're going to finish everything up. We're going to add some tips on the exhaust. We'll put the body on the car and see how the exhaust tips look. And we'll fabricate a hanger bracket in the back of the car. Okay, and as you can see, we got the exhaust system back from the professional welder. In my opinion, it just looks gorgeous. It came out great. We welded in the primary O2 sensors. I put them where the exhaust collects, and it's also close to the manifold. We also welded the cats and the resonators together and added a bung for the secondary O2 sensors because this will be a emissions compliant build. All right, so stay tuned and we'll get to work. Okay, I think this is worth talking about. The product on the left side, this is DEI's floor and tunnel heat shielding, and this is what I used to insulate the outside of the chassis. Originally, I was going to use this product to protect the shifter cables, the knock sensor, and the liquid to oil cooler, which are very close to the exhaust system. But it turns out it's a bit too thick, and it's really not designed to be, contacting or very, very close to a high heat source like a catalytic converter. So I found this other product. It's from a UK company called Zircotech, and it's called Zircotech Form. And it's simply a stainless steel embossed sheet, and it's coated with ceramic coating on both sides. And it can actually touch the heat source. If it does, it'll reduce the radiant heat by 40%. If it's 20 millimeters away, it will reduce the heat source by over 80%. Okay, so I made some heat shields. We'll take a look at those in a moment, and hopefully that will protect all the critical items. Okay, so let's take a look at the heat shielding. So off camera, over the past few weeks, I put these heat shields together, but anyway, this is, the overall heat shield that goes all the way up. You really can't see it, to the front of the engine mount. And if I zoom in, you see the down tube in place. I've got a little bit of a mini heat shield for the knock sensor. And then you see, let's take a look at the shifter cables. Then you have the shifter cables, sort of over there. So this is a nice thin heat shield, and it should do a good job. Then on the other side, we have that liquid to oil cooler. So actually, there's the knock sensor heat shield from GM. Then we have the liquid to oil cooler. I ran some heat shielding over there. Then we have this insulated oil tube that carries the oil to the cooler, and I'm going to make a mini heat shield and rivet it on there. Okay, so we'll get the exhaust here, and we'll get a sense for what the tolerance is. And I got to figure out how inboard, do I need to make these heat shields, because I don't want them to rattle. I'm going to secure them to the engine block. All right, so we'll get the mufflers in and we'll take a look. Okay, a huge moment on the build here. Got the exhaust in the car, we got the tips on, we've got the wing stanchions on, and I sort of like the look. I like the look of the exhaust tips sort of tucking in next to the wing stanchions. Got about a 3/4 inch clearance or 1/2 inch clearance. And I also like the fact that I can see the mufflers. That's just sort of a cool look in my opinion. So let's take a closer look at how that all came together. So pretty simple. I basically have two elbows here. This elbow is a butt weld, and that's a 45-degree elbow with a 2-inch tangent. And I basically trimmed this elbow to get it to the right height and also the right distance from the wing. And you can see that the tips have to go up a bit in order to clear the diffuser. So those elbows serve a couple purposes to raise the tip as well as bring it in. I tried a couple different configurations, but I sort of like this one the best. Also, we've got the exhaust in with the heat shield. A little dark there, but the heat shielding does clear the catalytic. On this side we have quite a bit more room. On this side I could have used the DEI heat shielding, but I figured why not make it symmetrical. But anyway, this is looking good. So we're going to get the body on the car and we'll see if the overall look is what I want it to be, and then B, if the tips need to be raised a bit. And then once we're happy, we'll tack it up. Okay, well, as you can see, the body is placed on the car. That ugly stack of wood there is just to hold the body up. Eventually I'll have a hinge in place, and that hinge pivots the rear clam on the back of the diffuser. But anyway, I really like the look of this. I think those single exhaust pipes complement the dual taillights really well. I like that the tips are tucked in towards the wing stanchions, and overall just very happy with this look, and this is what I'm going to go with. I've got to finalize the spacing a bit. I think I'll do an inch spacing between the wing stanchion and the tips, 3/8 inch underneath, and a 1/2 inch above the tip. All right, let's take a look at the stick out. I played around with a couple variations. I'm just simply going to line up the tip with the edge of the body. Since the body bows in a little bit at the tips, if you have a little stick out, it sort of sticks out more on one side of the tip than the other. So this is the layout we're going to go with. T2T, time to tack. All right, well, I made this jig. It's a little wacky looking, but basically provides an inch space between the tip and the wing stanchion and holds that tip parallel to the wing stanchion and also parallel to the base of the diffuser. So I think this will work out good. Also, I made a homemade clamp to hold those elbows in place so I could tack them up. Okay, well, it's all tacked up and everything is looking good. The spacing is looking good. Actually, I had to redo the driver's side. I didn't have the V-band clamp seated properly, and I tacked it all up, and when I went to put it back, the tip was touching the diffuser. So it's not all daisies and roses here, but you know, I powered through. I was pretty discouraged, but I cut it all out and I redid it. All right, we're going to send this off to the welder, and then when we get it back, we're going to add the mounting tabs and we'll call it a wrap. Okay, well, a little change in plans here. You know, you got to be flexible on the build. What I decided to do is just man up and power through and tack up the mounting tabs. I had to fab them up. But anyway, this is how I decided to mount each muffler. So I have a stainless mounting tab that I fabbed up, and then that screws into a 3/8 inch steel bung that is tacked onto the K-brace. And then for cushioning, I have a high temp polyurethane muffler hanger bushing. So there she is. I mean, it was a hell of a lot of work. I started this back in August. It's now April. Of course, I did a lot of things in between, but anyway, a monumental step on the build. I'm really proud of this work. So anyway, I think we'll call it a wrap at this point. At some point, we'll take a look at the totally welded up muffler system. But as always, thanks for watching and take care.